Okay, based on yesterday's video about how Nigerians pay more bills, make more expenses, and still pay more in house rent than those abroad, I see some ignorant Nigerians, especially those ones abroad who don't like this kind of post. I see them coming to defend, and all their defenses are weak because they can't even provide proof to their defenses. You understand? Now, let me still make it clear so that Nigerians in Nigeria will hear me and share this video. Nigerians in Nigeria pay more bills, make more expenses, and pay more in house rent than those abroad. And now I will make this explanation look like an explanation that would be given to a primary or nursery school student, so that if you don't understand this one now, I will know that you are daft and very, very daft. Now, let's use a nurse in Nigeria and a nurse in this Canada, for example. Let's use two single nurses, one single nurse in this Canada. Let's say a Nigerian nurse in this Canada who is single, and a Nigerian nurse in Lagos, for example, who is single. Let me explain. A single nurse in this country can take home at least 5,000, 6,000 or more every month after taxes and other deductions from her salary. She must definitely go home with at least 5,000, 6,000, 7,000, a nurse in this country after every month. You understand? Now, let's assume that the nurse decides to rent a studio apartment, which is what you call self-con in Nigeria. She can decide to rent it in any part of this Canada, and everywhere is fine and standard. Now, let's assume that she takes 1.5. She pays 1.5 for that her rent monthly. Remember, she's taking home at least $6,000. If she pays 1.5 for her rent out of $6,000, how much is remaining from her salary? Now, check what percentage of her salary goes into rent every month, and check what percentage of her salary remains for her after paying rent every month. You understand? And inside that studio apartment, there is AC and heater, there is washing machine and dryer, there is fridge for her. So you see, she can comfortably divide her 1 month income into 4 and use one part to pay her rent, and keep 3 parts of her salary for a nurse here. You understand? Now, let's go to Nigeria. A nurse in Nigeria, let's use Lagos, for example. Working in any hospital in Lagos, whether Lute or private hospital or any hospital, can that same nurse in Nigeria go to locations like Banana Island, Ikoyi, Lekki, all those estates in Lekki, VGC, or any, can she go to a clean or a manageably clean area in Lagos to rent an apartment? Now, the clarification I want to make is this. Whether the nurse here is paying her rent monthly and you are paying yearly there does not make any difference. After all, the nurse here too is collecting her salary weekly. Now, paying rent monthly or weekly does not make any difference. It's the same thing. If you want to know how much you are paying for your rent in Nigeria monthly, divide your rent by 12 so that you will get the value of your monthly rent, because you also have to save your salary every month for 12 months for you to be able to pay your rent. So it doesn't matter if you are paying it yearly or monthly. So don't let Nigerians abroad be whining you with we pay our rent monthly. It's the same thing with you that pays yearly, because you just give it to landlord after 12 months. But you have been keeping the money every month from your income. So it's the same thing. The same person here can decide to gather their 1 year rent and give landlord at once. Landlord will still collect it. So there is no difference between paying. What matters is what percentage of your income for that period of time, monthly or yearly, goes into your rent. You understand? So if that nurse in Nigeria divides her yearly rent in Ikoyi or Banana Island into 12, and you know that to get a studio apartment, a better safe con like the one you will get here in Canada, with AC, with fridge, with washing machine, to get it in Ikoyi, Banana Island, VI, all those better estates, it will cost you up to 3 million naira currently. You understand? Now, if a nurse in Nigeria divides that 3 million naira into 12, that is how she will get the value of her monthly rent. Now, can her monthly salary as a nurse pay for that monthly rent? That yearly rent of 3 million divided by 12 now will give you like 250,000 naira every month. Can a nurse in Nigeria earn 250,000 naira in Nigeria currently? Answer me. So you see, a nurse here will comfortably take 1/4 of her salary to pay for her rent every month. But you in Nigeria, your monthly salary cannot even pay for your monthly rent. It means that to pay for your monthly rent in a good location in Nigeria as a nurse, you will have to work for 3 or 4 months to be able to pay for 1 month rent. And that is why you now see them moving to places like Ikorodu, Badagry, where they will spend 4 or 5 hours on the road before they get to work. If the nurse in this place still decides to move to a far place where they will spend 4 or 5 hours before they will get to work, their rent will now be cheaper too. That 1,500 or 2,000 they are paying, it will now be like 500 or 700. So you see, it works both ways. So it doesn't matter if you are renting 1 room here or somebody renting 1 room in Nigeria. Even if you are renting 100 rooms here, you are not still paying more rent than somebody renting 100 rooms in Nigeria. When you do a comparison of how much you earn, how much goes out of your income towards that rent, that is how to explain it. That is how to calculate it. So if you don't understand this simple explanation, it means you're daft and ignorant. If you don't understand this simple analogy, it means you don't have sense, you don't have common sense. And this applies to other jobs. A cleaner here is paying less rent than a cleaner in Nigeria. If you follow this comparison that I did now, it applies to a medical doctor here and a medical doctor in Nigeria. It applies to whether you are living in skyscraper here to whether you are living in skyscraper in Lagos. As long as you are comparing the same jobs and income and how much you have to remove from your income doing the same job here and there, how much you have to remove to be able to pay for the same type of apartment, either 1 room, 2 rooms, 100 rooms here and there. That is what we are talking about. And if you check it that way, you will realize that somebody in Nigeria will have to take more money from their salary to pay for their monthly rent than somebody abroad. You understand the simple analogy? Very easy to understand.